already. But I'm gonna wait for a couple of y'all to get on here. We need to talk. Let's talk, y'all. I got this pimple on my head. Ooh, it's annoying me. I'm gonna wait for y'all to get on here so we could talk. This is a pretty important conversation. When you enter, say hello. Because I feel like this is a conversation that we need to have. Oh. Hey, I'm also. Y'all, my eye is hurting. Can you stop playing with that? Then how would something fall if you're not playing with it? Put it up. How are y'all? Y'all, my eye is burning. I don't know why. I need some of y'all to get on here because this conversation is going to be pretty important. We need to have this conversation because I just saw this in my comments. I deleted the comment. I probably should have left it. But y'all are out here really trying it. Some of y'all. So let's talk. I'm going to just talk and y'all can watch this on the replay. Someone put in my comments after I posted the video about Gypsy and Ryan, what am I doing? We need to be getting justice for Dee Dee. My question to people that keep saying justice for Dee Dee, what does justice look like? Because Gypsy does not have a show anymore. She's pretty much washed up and nobody's paying her very much attention at all, right? And what are we wanting? Right? We really like what is the goal? Okay? Because we realize the media lies to us all the time. They've been doing it. It's Gypsy's not excluded from that, right? And if we're waiting on the media to tell us the truth when they've been lying the whole time, I feel like that's not realistic of us. Like creators have put the information out there. You know, we still continue to talk about it, but it's not a everyday post type of thing because I also don't want to grift off of this woman's death. Like I'm not that person that's going to keep screaming justice for Dee Dee, justice for Dee Dee, justice for Dee Dee just so you guys could come on here and give me money or views. I'm not that person, right? Because at the end of the day, I feel like what do we think is justice for Dee Dee? Right? Gypsy's not going back to jail. If they were going to do it, they by now they would have absolutely done it, right? So what is the ultimate goal? And that's me just being honest. What is the ultimate goal? Like what do people see as justice for Dee Dee? She's not really making money off social media right now. She no longer has a show. She isn't really having any success. So, what do we consider justice? Because I feel like it's at a point where if we are really relying on the media, that is very unrealistic, especially after what we've been seeing going on the last couple of months and realizing that the media has been lying to us about everything. What makes anyone think that the focus on the media in specific is going to be Gypsy? Like that, I feel like that's unrealistic of us. Like I think it comes to a point where we have to ask ourselves, what does justice look like? If she's not on the internet influencing our kids, right? She's spun lies, but I feel like the majority of the internet, once Into the Weeds released those videos, I think the majority of the internet realize who Gypsy is. And the people who don't realize it, it's not that they don't realize it, it's that they agree with her behavior and they agree with what she did, period. So at this point, it's not whether people understand or not, it's not whether people see it or not, it's the fact that people don't want to. And you can't convince anybody of anything once you realize they're committed to misunderstanding you and the situation. So my question is, what does justice for Dee Dee look like? That's an answer that I have, a question that I have. Because for somebody to put that in my comments, I really need to understand, what does that look like? Because her karma is already playing out in real time. We're literally watching her karma continuously play out. Like, the problem is, I think that so many people are um, dislike her so much that they want to see everything play out in our faces, right? And the reality is, most things don't play out like that, right? And I think that it's unrealistic.
Mommy, I washed my hands because there was dirty in there.
Okay, baby. Hold on.
Can I hug you?
No, not right now. I don't want you to be on this camera. There's widows on here.
Where
Okay, give me a hug, but I don't want them to be right there. Come, hurry up. Thank you, Papas. I love you.
You love me so much.
I do, of course, always. Don't fall. Don't trip. Be careful. Okay. Yeah. So I just feel like I I really need people to answer that, and it seems like there's crickets, which means that y'all know what I'm saying is true. I am not going to be that person to get on the internet and grift off of someone's death, like, over and over again. Like, I'm not that person. Hey, books with Z. So let me tell you what's happening. Somebody wrote in my comments. I just posted a video about Ryan and the little girlfriend that he had, I guess, for a couple of months. And someone said, sorry, y'all. And somebody said, what are you doing? We're supposed to be getting justice for Dee Dee. So what I asked was, Gypsy no longer has her show. She's not making money off of social media. And she's not really influencing the kids like that anymore. So what do we consider justice? Because at this point, I think we've all came to terms with, she will not go to jail, right? Like, they let her out. Missouri does not, they're not going to open up that case, even if they find out that she's lying for sure. Like, if it's in their face, they've seen it, right? All of the stuff that we've seen, they've seen, right? Um, because they are the ones who gave it to the public, correct? Now, to me, I think we finally got to the point of, for the general public to realize that she was lying when Into the Weeds released all those videos. I think that, to me, was solid. It went viral. Everybody saw that Gypsy had been lying. Everybody saw who she was, and the people that refused to see it, they're committed to not seeing it. So, what does justice for Dee Dee look like? Because for somebody to get in my comments and say, "Why are you posting this? We should be looking for justice for Dee Dee." What does justice for Dee Dee look like? I'm not the person that's going to get on the internet and scream justice for Dee Dee, justice for Dee Dee, justice for Dee Dee, just so that you guys can give me views and money. I'm not that person. So I feel like this is the most justice we will likely get. Close the door, Papas. Gio, close the door, Papas.
I don't know what Mommy's doing.
Okay, that's fine. Just close the door. Just go play.
I think we're trying to watch
Okay, close the door.
TV.
It's okay, Papas. Just close the door. Because I don't want Alexa to be on the camera. Okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, Mommy can watch.
It's okay. It's fine. Gio, you didn't close it. Okay. Um, I'm just not that person. Like I feel like, first of all, if we've really been paying attention the last couple of months with what's going on in the world, the country, and realizing the media been lying to us the whole time about everything, what would what do we really care if the media puts it out there? Like she's went viral enough for enough people to see that she's manipulator, and a liar and a deceiver, right? She has. I just don't understand what justice looks like, right? Like it's I
Mommy can put her hands down now.
she can.
Oh.
Okay, she's off punishment. She can put her hands down. She only had 15 minutes.
And then who can put them up?
No, she could put it down now. She was only to put her hands up for 15 minutes because she was talking back and being rude to grandma. Okay?
Say sorry to who?
Yes, she did say sorry.
I didn't hear the sorry.
You don't have to hear it as long as mommy hears it, okay? You're not somebody's sheriff, okay? Okay.
Can I take a bath
In a little bit, okay?
after this is
After
out?
this, I'll give you a bath with your special bath bombs. Okay?
I don't know what color.
Don't worry about it. Gio, let me finish this live, okay?
Okay.
Okay, go close the door.
Oh my God.
Gio, leave them. Leave them.
You?
Yes. Okay, now close the door. Close the door, Papas. Man, he be stay trying to tell. You didn't close it. He closes the door and then he stands outside at the door. Y'all, he be doing too much. You hear him right at the door? He think I don't know. Y'all, he be doing too much. Yeah, so that is the biggest thing that I have is that once we see what it is, I feel like at what point do we say, okay, it's not, there's not going to be much else that's going to happen, right? I feel like a lot of people have advocated um, it's like what's where are we heading, right? Like I personally am not going to grift off Dee Dee's name. Like I'm just not doing it. Like that's just not something I see myself doing. Like, you do what you do, boo boo. That's your business. But I just don't see that. Like, I don't see myself doing that. As for Nick, I would love to see him have a fair day at court, but I feel like in the current political climate that we're in, I feel like it will be somebody else will have to be in office in Missouri to see that realistically. Um, and I feel like people really need to have realistic goals when it comes to this because otherwise it becomes. Yes, you can have it, Gio. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mommy don't let me have some.
Okay. Well, how about you just get the chewy bar?
Mommy said yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Mommy said yes, I can have cereal.
Okay, I heard you. Go ahead. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm being very honest with you guys. Um, like I talk about Gypsy and kind of what's going on. Um, and I will always stand firm on the fact that Dee Dee did not deserve what happened to her. Um, and I always felt like she didn't deserve what happened to her, but I really felt horrible when I saw the Cape Cod videos of Gypsy and Dee Dee. I feel like it really humanized her, and just to see that she could smile and laugh and have her mom dance in her face like that and literally have her mom assassinated is a special type of awful human being. And I don't think that there's anything anybody can say or do to fix that. Um, it just, I feel like the more we learned with the Foyas from Into the Weeds, I feel like it really answered a lot of unanswered questions, you know. And I think a lot of people were able to see that. But I also think, and I'm not going to name names here, I'm going to just tell y'all my opinion. I also think when it comes to a point where if a creator puts out that they believe Gypsy, us attacking that creator instead of explaining why they're wrong or like giving them insight, it's not going to get them to see what you're saying. In fact, it's probably going to get them to see less of what you're saying because they feel attacked. Anytime people feel attacked, they're not going to hear you out. Um, exactly, Books with Z. At this point, people have seen it. Now they can choose to follow her or not. That's exactly what it is. And I think even her, having her second page and seeing that she can't get but so much followers, that should tell you how people feel about her. So that's why I say, okay, look, she's not able to gain that same traction. People are not following her in mass like that before. People are not watching what she's putting out. Um, and Gypsy is her own karma. I hate when you basement dudes get on here because you get no action for you guys to come on YouTube and ask provocative questions. Why don't you get out your mama's basement and go find something to do? Gypsy is literally her own karma, like in real time. Even when you watch that video with her and Ken in Alaska, That man was walking way ahead of her with no cares in the world. He didn't give a damn if a wolf came and ate her. He didn't give a damn if she fell in the snow. He wasn't looking back. He wasn't checking on her. That is karma right there. Like her whole life is a display of karma. Period. Um, but I'm sorry, y'all. I can't see myself grifting off Dee Dee's name. Like I don't see that. Um, now, if a documentary does come out, that's cool. But I don't think there's anything else at this point that we can do to force anything to happen. I think a lot has happened. You know, TMZ has thrown her shade. They haven't all the way came out about her. Part of that is probably because of Harvey, and I mean we know how Harvey is. Basically, off of the Nancy Guthrie case, we could see that. Um, I mean, hell, I was on TMZ's podcast and spoke it out about Nicholas and what she did and stuff like that. So I feel like there was enough, you know, traction that was out there, enough people speaking and seeing. And I think, like I said, I feel like Into the Weeds has done a really good job with putting that FOIA information out and making sure that it gets out to the masses on TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that. If anything, I feel like the work that people can do is probably more on Instagram than anywhere else, because I think the majority of people outside of that, the work has really been done. You know what I'm saying? Like the information has been put out there. I've had hundreds of people email me, message me. I'm sorry, I should have believed you when you first started speaking about Gypsy. So there are a lot of people that have came around and seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had people message me and say, "Hey, you blocked me on your account, but I am on a burner," or they've emailed me and said like, "Hey, I just want to apologize to you because you were right this whole time." So people see it. People do see it. Um, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anything further happening. And we can't want more for justice for Dee Dee than her family wants. That's the truth. Because Gypsy would have likely not got that plea deal if her family fought against it. Okay. If her family had written to the parole board, um, and said like, "Hey, I just don't feel like she should be out or whatever," we would have probably they more would have happened. And look, I'm not gonna say whether or not I think what I'm not gonna say that they're terrible or anything like that for that, because at the same time, Gypsy is their niece or sister or brother or whatever, and or granddaughter, and I feel as though a lot of people don't really realize how evil she is, or they're starting to see it, but at that time they didn't see it, or they didn't think she was that bad, or maybe they really did think she was being abused at that time, and so they were like, okay, this happened, blah 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 blah, and that's why they didn't fight for it. But at this point, if anything further is going to happen, it has to be the family fighting for it. Like, we can't fight harder than her own family is fighting. And because it needs to be her family going after Missouri, right? It needs to be her family going after Gypsy, um, for they can go after her for defamation. They could, they can. I mean, the grandfather's still alive. She's still talking crap about the grandfather. Um, all of that stuff. The family has to be the one to do it, right? Because at this point, What is justice for Dee Dee? And people really need to sit down, think about that, and answer that. Because continuing to make money on justice for Dee Dee just because you know you can, I just feel like it's foul. I personally can't do that. I feel like as long as Gypsy is not on the internet like that, I feel like as long as she doesn't have her show and as long as people aren't aspiring to be like her, I'm cool with her being her own karma because she is absolutely being her own karma. Um, and that's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at. Um, so yeah, when somebody says, "What are you doing? We need justice for Dee Dee," ask yourself, what does that look like? Because nobody has fought for Nicholas and Dee Dee harder than I did. I have really pushed for justice. It's almost 3 years or two, almost 2 full years. No, over 2 years. You talking about January of 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like I need people to be very realistic about what does justice look like. Like at what point do we feel like we got somewhere? Right? Like at what point, because I feel like anything further than this is just you trying to make a buck. And that's the truth. Whether you agree with me or not, it is what it is. And I very much feel like that. You know what I'm saying? Like think about how Gypsy is truly her own karma. Like really think about it. She had a baby with a man to literally try to trap him, a man that likes men. You think that ain't her own karma? That girl knows she will never find true love. Trust me, she lives in agony every day. Trust, there's no rest for the wicked. You think that girl resting? Believe she her own karma. Believe that. Believe that. Her own pit bull that used to come up on here and defend her more than anybody else in the world. Look what happened. She got arrested for rugs. Like, really think about it. She got arrested for rugs. That girl been silent ever since. Like, think about that's why like when you really, I think this community has came a long way, and I think a lot of people aren't seeing all the achievements that the community as a whole collectively has accomplished. Because if you really look back from the beginning, in the beginning, I used to make posts and get so many hate messages about how I'm so evil and I don't care about people that have been abused and I am so heartless to say anything against Gypsy and I am okay with her being abused and her mom doing this to her, blah, 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 blah. I used to get hundreds of messages a day about how I was such a terrible person and I'm wrong for how I'm treating Gypsy. I don't get messages like that no more. I might get some comments on my page, but you know that's her people. I don't get messages like that. That's because she has been exposed. The world sees her for what she is. The Gypsy files was one of the most viral parts of Gypsy. I'm Into the Weeds did that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you really think about it, people have seen her for who she is. People know She low down. Like that, she lives in agony every day. She lives in agony, and you can visibly see that she lives in agony. That's why she wants everybody to think her life looks great because she knows it's not great. So she wants you to feel like that so that everybody feels like they haven't achieved anything. But the reality is, if nothing has been achieved or if people have not gotten to Gypsy, tell me why a whole 2.5 years later, Gypsy put me on her block list right away. That girl know what's up. She still, no matter what, she still is feeling it. She wants to portray that because it's a control thing. When you're that much of a narcissist, um, you okay. You notice people that do really bad things and they're bad people. They always say, "I'm a good person," or they're the type that gives when everybody's watching, right? Or will help when people could see it, but when people can't see it, they're not helping anyone. They don't care because it's all for show. It's them controlling the narrative. That's one of the biggest issues for Gypsy right now is she has not been able to control the narrative. Exactly, like Diddy. And he hasn't been able to control that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at it in a grand scheme of things, her fall happened. People see, like people have seen her for who she is. They really have. Um, and I don't know what people want. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just being honest and realistic about it because again, it's one thing to want justice and set a goal, but it's another thing to constantly ride this train of making money off her name in the name of justice, knowing that the work has already been done. Like it just gets to a point where that's not justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a fine line between what justice is and what justice is not. And that's just me being 100% honest with y'all and me being real with y'all. Um, I think it would be pretty much the opposite of what Gypsy's doing, but the same goal. She trying to grift off her mama, right? Like she can't really do that right now. Like we need to be careful of what we play into. That's all I want to say because I was really annoyed when somebody had put in my comments, "What are you doing? We should be getting justice for Dee Dee." You talking to me, one of the very first creators that spoke out against her and got the most hate for it. Hell, I lost my job, a six-figure job. Like, let's be so for real. I don't know, but that's really annoyed the hell out of me. That really annoyed the hell out of me. I'm just saying, like, I think that is quite ridiculous to say. But those are also, I don't know, it's so crazy because, oh, I was just making sure my daughter wasn't saying any bad words. I thought she was saying something. Um, it's just I don't know what else somebody wants. Like that's the reality. And again, this is the last time I'm going to say it. I'm not grifting off of her name. And if you notice, I've always fought for justice, but I never centered it around Dee Dee because I never wanted to use her name to to monetize. Like I always felt off about that. Like I never felt okay about that. Um, she lost her life at the hands of her daughter, so I feel like it wouldn't make me any better to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain point where you have to have like a moral compass. You know what I'm saying? And say to yourself like I'm willing to monetize, on the things that I talk about and the things that I like, the things that are in my head, but I'm not going to do that to somebody that lost their life at the hands of their daughter that still villainizes her in her death. I just I don't have that in me. I'm I'm just being 100 with y'all. But I want to ask y'all something. What do y'all think is happening with this Nancy Guthrie case? Have y'all noticed the Harvey Levy? And look, before I say this, I will say this. I'm not saying you did anything, Harvey, because I don't want a lawsuit. Okay? But I want to understand why you're so much like a tampon. You inserted yourself so much in it. Like at this point, I'm like, can y'all look at TMZ Studios to see if Nancy's there? And did y'all see that the sheriff said that it could take years to find Nancy? What the hell are y'all doing? Y'all could find somebody smuggling rugs real fast, but y'all saying years to find Nancy? Cut it out. Cut it right out. Years. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Ooh, and this might get me in some trouble. I'm gonna try to say this in code. Savannah Guthrie was interviewing different victims from the E files. Her mom was very boisterous about not liking DJT. The fact that Savannah was interviewing the victims and then all of a sudden something happened to her mama, y'all don't think that's suspicious? And Harvey was found in the Epstein files? I think one plus one is two. I think they straight up took her to make it very clear to Savannah, keep playing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, also, y'all realize Ghislaine, she said that she was going to testify. Then she pled the fifth on everything. Why do you think that happened? But all of these people are stepping down that were in the E files. You know what had me gagged though? I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. This had me gagged. I mean, gagged, gagged. Baby, Peter Thomas Roth, the cosmetic brand, was in the Epstein files. And what makes it crazy is I actually like Peter Thomas Roth, the brand. I'm gonna tell you why, and then I mean, obviously, I wouldn't shop them ever again. But I like Peter Thomas Roth because the brand is um, it's supposed to be 75% of what you would get in a Hungarian bathhouse. So their skincare is supposed to give you what you would get out of a Hungarian bathhouse. So they have some really good eye patches. They have some really good stuff. I don't like everything they have, but there's certain items that they have that I really like. And to see that he was sending emails about he was sending them skincare and for them to relax and pamper themselves straight to E, and there was other stuff in them emails. And I had somebody in my comment section the other day saying, "How do we know that it's not Trump haters for DJT?" If y'all have not watched the E Files on Netflix, I would urge you to do that. Um, because he's on video when they're asking him questions. Victims are on video talking about it. Like there's a lot of proof in there. So anyone that's still saying that they don't think it's true, something's wrong with you. Yeah, something's wrong with you. Because at what time point do we stop believing multiple victims? Everybody can't be telling the same lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just don't believe that everybody could be telling the same lie. But you know what I do think is really crazy? All the women that they put up in this administration to speak, these men dislike women so much that they put them in the forefront to take the fall. Let that sink in. Because out of all of the people in those files, out of everything that the government has had forever, who's the one sitting in prison? She the only one that's accountable. Everybody should have been held accountable. They literally put those women up there in the forefront for that. Caroline, she's a victim of the same stuff. Pat Bondi, same. Why do you think they can't look the victims in the face? Because at some point, the victim becomes the perpetrator. And that's exactly what's happening. That is what we're watching in real time. Is women are taking the fall. And if people wake up and see that, they'll look at this whole thing very different. And this is not about political parties anymore. Honestly, it's a bipartisan issue. It's not about political parties. This is a war against good and evil, period. It's a spiritual war, I believe. Like I think it's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing, but I feel like it's like a um, demons and angels fighting each other, and it's up to us as the people to hold them accountable. And I think a lot of people think we're powerless and we're not. I don't really think she cares about her position as much. It's more like control, and it's not that she was a victim herself. She has became a perpetrator. So if she was to care about the victim, she would have to face her own reality and her own past, and she can't. And that's why she can't even look the victims in their face. And just because she was a victim at one point doesn't mean that it's okay for her to be a perpetrator. No, she should be held just as accountable. But guess what? When everything falls down, she will be held accountable. But I guarantee you it's mostly the women that will be held accountable. Caroline, Pep, Christy, all of them. It's they literally put women in the forefront to take the fall for them. Yeah, this is all a very nasty game. But I would urge you guys to watch that Netflix documentary. I don't think he'll be here to for that to happen. I think he's very sickly, and I think that it's wishful thinking for us to think that he's gonna go down. No, I think his people will go down. But the see the sad thing about everything that is happening is that most people see Republicans and Trumplicans as the same party, and they're not. They're not. They're still very different. Now, when it comes to the House and the Senate, I'm sorry, y'all, it's very different because I think that he has a lot on those senators um, and House of Representatives, which is why they're not really standing up. I don't think it's that. I don't really think it's like the party itself. I know that might sound crazy, but I'm saying that like think about when we were growing up. Your parents could sit at a table together if your parent was Republican and the other parent was Democrat. Like you were able to talk and have a conversation and it not be like it was against humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't it wasn't that. And I think that's where people aren't really realizing what's really happening. You know, like it's all of this is created for us to be divided. And I think a lot of times we let it happen. But we need to really just care about people because if we center humanity, I think that we will all be better people. Moonchild, you're right. The earth is detoxing and evil is coming out screaming. Yes, because you know what I also think is very interesting? If you look at it all across the board, everything is being outed. Everything. I mean, from local representatives to school districts to like everything is coming out. And I really think about it like having a bunch of pimples. You can't clear it out until you get it out the skin. And it's coming to a head. And so everything's being pushed up, pushed up, pushed up. And that's what we're seeing right now. So I think it seems like I know a lot of people feel hopeless, but I just don't think we're hopeless. And we always have the power. We the people always have the power. Like think about how many things that our ancestors died and fought for and accomplished for us to say we don't have power. That's crazy. And they had less than what we have. Like really think about it. They have far less than what we have. They had access to far less than what we have. Um, and they did a lot. So we can do the same too. Yeah, the no consequence part for a lot of the stuff that happens, Snowflake, is crazy. Like I went through some of those e-files. Ivory and I were going through it one night on the phone. Well, on uh, Facebook um, Messenger because we could both see the screen. And baby, I got lightheaded. Um, like I feel like that night I sat on my bed like, damn, because I think in my mind and y'all tell me if this was you too, so I feel maybe I won't feel so crazy. You know, I was thinking like, okay, maybe if these files got released, the worst thing that would probably come out in my mind, like is that they were all messing with each other, right? Like that was the extreme that I thought it was what they were trying to avoid. But the stuff that they were doing to infants, that was hard to wrap my mind around. That was very hard to wrap my mind around. Like that, I felt so heavy after that. Like so heavy. I said to Ivory, I said, you know what? We gonna have to we have to pause on this. I can't. I can't. Like the, y'all. No, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, but I also, because when I said to Ivory, I said this to her last night. I said to her, I just didn't really think it was gonna be this bad. Like I couldn't have fathomed this. And she said to me, yeah, because you don't think like that. So to you, the worst could have been which what in your mind you thought they thought the worst would be. And y'all, okay, so I'm gonna tell you one part that I read, and there's some videos. Okay, they were having like these little girls that they were bringing that were like 14, 15, whatever. He was getting them knocked up, and they would have these babies, and immediately when a baby was born, they would take the babies and they would starve the babies and have them nurse on their private area, like multiple babies. Like, I could have never fathomed that. I could have never fathomed that. Like that, I could have never fathomed that. Like, yeah, no, I could have never fathomed that. Like that if we had to play a guessing game about any of that, that would have never been something that I would have thought of. Like that would have never been. I don't know. That was when I was like, Ivory, I can't do this. Like, we need to take a couple of days from this. Like, I know we trying to go through this, but we need to take a couple of days. Like that's extreme because when you think about your own kids, you just, like I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I honestly could not wrap my mind around that thought. Like it just that is just I have no words when it comes to that. And that's why I said it's beyond political parties because it's really a bipartisan issue. It's both. All them people are in there. And what I thought was funny is, well, not funny, but Pam Bondi said if they were to release the whole thing, the whole system would crash. Like what? Then let it crash. It needs to, obviously. Obviously, it needs to. Why try to save something that's that? I don't know, y'all. I will never understand why people are trying to save certain people. I just feel like at this point we need to like see it for what it is and fight for humanity, period. Snowflake, that part. It's like the worst thing and then multiply that by a million. Like that's exactly what it is. And I think it comes to a point where you realize there's normal people and there's people that are not normal. And people need to think that like we can't fathom it because we would never even think of something like that. We would never even agree to something like that. We would none of that, you know. So I think that's the part that we need to come to. It's just a sad situation. I just never really, I don't know, y'all. It's just for me. It's been a heavy week after hearing seeing that. I'm like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. You know what? I don't even think it's just money. I think it's people that have um that are sick. Like they've been sick like that. It wasn't money that brought that out. It money afforded them the power to make it happen on a grander scale. And I'm gonna say something that y'all might think is crazy, but I want y'all to let this sink in and think about this overnight. Epstein Island was only a test for what they was trying to do to the rest of the world, the country. Let that sink in. Because a lot of these laws that they're trying to pass are to force what happened on that island. It was only a test. hmm that's the biggest thing. And so if people don't catch that now, hey, Aunt Edna, that's all it was is a test. Exactly. You are definitely who you hang out with. That's why I always tell people to be careful about who they surround themselves with, what type of friends they, even with my kids, like I am always saying that to them because you are definitely who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself by people that are striving to do better, you will strive to do better. If you surround yourself by people that don't want to do better and they do evil things and terrible things, you'll become that. It's like having an orange with mold on it. If one orange has mold, it's sitting in a bag, it's all going to get mold. It doesn't matter how new that orange originally was, it's going to catch that mold. But I just think that on a grand scale, if we think about that island, the entire island was just a social experiment for what they were trying to do to the country. And that was something that I had sat with the other night and I was laying down and I was just thinking like, why did they keep doing it on that scale? Like how why were they still doing it? Like how could they get away with it? And then when I think about the laws that they were trying to pass and how and what they were trying to hide behind, saying they were doing those laws for, it makes you realize they were only trying to do exactly what they were doing on that island on a grand scale. Yes, a template for a rollout. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then just wrap it up and say it's Christianity. And what I think is really crazy is when he got on the news and said he doesn't see himself going to heaven, I was really trying to understand why so many people were still following him. I'm like, he straight up said, like, I'm a bad person. I'm going to Hell. So I don't think I'm going to see them pearly gates. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? You don't have to guess. The man told you. I mean, I guess when you know you've done that much evil, you gotta be fine with it. Like you don't have an option. Like what you've done, you know, when you really think about children, children are the future, right? And like a lot of those things they were doing, like God takes that type of stuff very serious. And I just don't, I think him knowing that, like helpless children, oh yeah, you definitely going to, you know what I'm saying? You gonna be in flames. Like I know people say that God says that there's no sin that's bigger than the other. I don't believe that. I do think that some of them are pretty extreme, and he gonna be like, yeah, no, you did that to kids. I can't let you up here under no circumstance. Like I do believe that. Like you mean to tell me stealing someone's chocolate and raping kids is the same sin? Like it's equal? Yeah, no, I'm not. You can't convince me of that. Like you cannot convince me of that. I don't think he conned. I'm gonna say this. Some of y'all gonna get upset at me, but I want y'all to keep in mind the very first slave owners was the church, and there was two different Bibles: a Bible for slaves and Bibles for non-slaves. And in that Bible, it says, "Slaves, obey your master." But also, if you read the Bible, it says that He created us all equally. Which one is it? So if the first slave owners were pastors and they had to create laws saying you cannot own people, like they had to pass laws to say you cannot own people. Like, let that sink in. If they had to pass a law like that, that tells you the default setting was to own people. And they don't, they were doing this to the slaves kids. They were, you know what I'm saying? Slave masters were impregnating slaves. They were doing this stuff to slaves. So what you found on those files were just amplified, and I feel like it made it to where people could resonate with it. Like they could think to themselves like, wow, that could have been my child. That could have been, you know. And I want to say something else. Y'all just think about this. Have you noticed since he's been in office, we haven't been getting Amber Alerts? Let that sink in. Ask yourself, when was the last time you got an Amber Alert? Ask yourself that. You see, these schools are canceling Life Touch because they've basically been having catalogs of our babies. Lyric Travel, stop playing in here. Yeah, like it's a bigger issue, and people really got to keep their eyes open because I'm telling you, it is a war that a lot of us are not seeing. But if you really see it as a spiritual war, like demons are behind the scenes fighting, baby, just stay safe. Keep your grandkids, your kids, stay safe. You know what, love always, I don't think you should be embarrassed or ashamed. And I hear me out before y'all judge what I'm saying. I think that when you see that your ancestors have done things, you just have to work on like deconstructing that and becoming a better than them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think the majority of white people are like that. I think I think that the problem is the bad people. They're so upfront and forward that they come across like it's the whole everybody. You know, and so because think about it this way: the Black Panther Party, there was a White Panther Party too that was helping the Black Panther Party. There were people then fighting. There were lots of white people fighting alongside of black people. Yet you don't see that. Like they don't show us that because they don't want us to see what unity is like. They don't like if we understood that we were stronger together, it would dismantle everything they're trying to do. Like the majority of people aren't really like that. There are sick people, but the sick people are at the forefront, and that's all you hear about. So because that's what you hear about, we're not realizing that there are a lot of people that would never do that. There's a lot of people that would never think about that. In fact, and I'll say this as a black person, I have encountered more white people to make their viewpoints very clear up front because they don't ever want there to be a misunderstanding about who they are. I'll tell you this, like last year, um, there was like this parent night at my daughter's dance academy. So it's like they talk about what the recital is going to be like. You measure your kids and stuff like that. And I am the only black mom in that class that my daughter was in. They had some Indians or Asians, but it was majority white. And when I got to the door, one of the moms say, "I just want you to know I did not vote for him." And I just looked at her and I was like, I just smiled because I didn't know what to say because I was so like shocked, like and taken back that she felt the need to say that, right? Because I wasn't walking up to her thinking, I wonder if she, you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't my thought process, right? Um, or there's so many people that I think are consciously realizing it's no longer good enough to not be racist. It's you have to be anti-racist. I think there's a lot of people that are like that, and I think that because the loudest ones are the ones that are, you don't see the ones that aren't. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people don't realize it. Listen, the pendulum always swings back. Always. Always. I mean, we're going to go through some things, right? Some things are going to happen, but the pendulum always swings back. Okay? And I think that there's enough people that just want to live good lives and be good people. And the bad people are ruining it for them. And I think there's enough people that are feeling like that will see better days. But I think they need to deconstruct both political parties. They need to be totally revamped. Totally. Both. Both of them. like in its entirety. Like it just, what are we doing? Um, there needs to be a lot of change, and I think it'll come. I think it'll come. I think we just have to keep fighting for justice, and I think that we all have to make sure, especially in the midterms, we get out there and do what we need to do, and I think we'll be okay. I think we just going through some things. I think every country has their time where they go through some things. A lot has been exposed. It's been a lot for people to digest, and I. But one thing I know is everything always works itself out, and I know it sounds so cliche, but it's always rang true. And you see spots of glimmers of hope, like you see things coming. Things will be okay. We'll be okay. I don't think we should have multiple parties. I do think it probably needs to stay a two-party system, but they need to be revamped. They need to be revamped. And the reason why I say doing multiple parties, think about if we were all voting for five different parties and one was 20%, one was 20%, one was 20%, one was 20%, one was 20%. We're not going to get nowhere anyway. Man, James Baldwin, if baby, 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 he been speaking um a lot of truth. You know what? This lady was on TikTok the other day. I'm gonna say this to you guys and then I'm gonna get off. Um, this lady was on TikTok the other day and she was going off. She was like, I don't understand why they had to have the Black National Anthem at the Super Bowl because I thought the national anthem was for everybody. What the fuck is this? She was going off, right? And I thought about doing about a video about it, but I just left it alone because it's ignorance. Because I sat there and thought to myself, like, do you realize when the national anthem was made, it said freedom and justice for all, and that did not include slaves? So slaves couldn't sing that song because they were not free. What do you mean? That's crazy. Every time I hear the Black National Anthem, it brings tears to my eyes. And the reason why it does, and what's crazy? I was in a rites of passage program in Harlem when I was younger, and they used to make us sing it every Saturday, and we used to have to say our creed every day at home. And when I was younger and I used to sing, lift every voice and sing, I really did not realize how powerful the words that I was singing was. It wasn't until I became an adult and realized, like, I feel like it's almost so powerful that when you know that your ancestors died and fought for the rights that you have today, and you hear what they were singing as a glimmer of hope, hoping that they'd have days like what we have now, it makes you realize, like, you can't lay down and play dead when everything's happening because people literally fought and died for your rights. Like, literally fought. And with much less, far less than what we have now. So for us to get stressed out and lay down and play dead is crazy work. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy work. So yeah, the Black National Anthem. Every time I hear that, I shed a tear because it just reminds me that they had to sing that to feel hope, like to feel like better days were coming. And that's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like it makes you realize that we have an obligation to be better people, like literally, as a whole, as a country. Like people fought and died for the rights that all of us have. So we have an obligation to fight to be better people every day. Period. And I think that when you really sit back and think about that, you'll be like, damn, yeah. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate you. But all right, y'all. Y'all, I have such a crazy week and a couple of weeks coming up. So I told you guys I put in an offer on a house. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get it. But if not, either way, I I was originally gonna keep my house and rent it out, but I've decided to sell it. So I am having to pack up my house so it's ready to be shown for open houses and stuff like that. Because I have so much in my house. So I have to pack everything up, put everything in the garage or storage, or mostly everything, stage the house or whatever, prepared to sell. And it's just been a lot because I have a lot of things. And, but I feel really good about it. I'm very excited. No, I'm going to be staying in Texas. I will only be moving about um, 5 or 6 miles away from where I live. Gio's arguing with Lonnie again. Um, so yeah, I'm working on that because I need more space, more storage space, more. I want some acres. Like I, I just I like where I live because it's peaceful, it's quiet. I just want to move just a little bit further out. Um, I could get yeah the same school district. Yeah, Lonnie will be going to the same school. Oh, thank you, snowflakes. You know what, Aunt Edna? I was thinking about a pod, but I have my garage is pretty big. I think it'll be able to fit most of the things. But if not, worst case scenario, I'm going to do a pod. Because that would definitely be easier than a storage unit because I could just literally have it dropped off at my new house versus like unpacking and packing and unpacking. Lonnie, yo, they argue with each other all the time. It's so crazy. She'll say, "Stop hitting me," and you can hear he's on the other side of the room. Like Lonnie be wanting to get Gio in trouble. They are really excited about moving. Um, Gio starts elementary school next year, and so he won't be going to the same elementary school. He'll be going to another elementary school, but Lonnie will be staying in the same school. Um, I'm excited for him to get out of daycare because, baby, this $1,500 a month. Child. Of course. So that was part of the reason why I wanted to move too, is because my mom is upstairs with the kids. I wanted my mom to have a room downstairs because she's getting older. And she's walking and everything perfect. She's fine. But I think to myself, like, as she gets older, I would, if I stayed here, I would give up my room and let my mom have the master room so that um, she would be on the ground floor. But I intentionally was looking for a house with uh, another room and a bathroom on the ground floor for my mom. That was like one of the biggest things for me looking for my house. Um, so that was the main thing I told my realtors. Like, I want a house that has a room and a bathroom downstairs for my mom, that she has her own space downstairs. Um, so as she gets older, I don't I don't have to worry about her going up and down the stairs. I don't have to worry about like any of that. She'll just have her own space. She has her own bathtub. She has her own shower. Um, she has her own bathtub and shower now, but her room is upstairs, and I didn't want to have her keep going up and down the stairs. Yes, Kathleen, I was looking for a single floor house, but I was really struggling finding one that was more than 4 bedrooms. I need 5 to 6 bedrooms, and all of the ones that I found had 5 bedrooms, but two were upstairs. One was downstairs, or one was downstairs. The master was downstairs, and everything was upstairs. And I kind of do want a 2 floor now that I think about it, though, because I want my office to be upstairs off the ground where I have lighting, but not everybody could see inside of my office. Does that make sense? Yes. So that was one of my big things with moving, is that I wanted it to be set up to where all of the needs that we have, I would be able to, have. Because when I moved to this house um, in a time where I had an apartment that I was paying $2,500 a month for rent. And I was like, okay, you know what? I gotta find a house. But at that time, the housing market was horrible, and it was so hard to find a house. And I didn't really have very many options, so I moved here. Um, but I knew it wasn't my forever home. Like I knew it wasn't going to be long term. I knew I was going to be here for like a couple of years, and then I was going to end up moving. It just happened moving quicker than I thought. I thought that I would have been here at least like 6 years, 7 years. It's only been about almost like 4 years. It's been 4 years. Um, Lonnie, stop yelling. Oh my gosh, Naomi, belated happy birthday. Naomi. Sorry, hold on one second. Lonnie, let Naomi know I have a gift for her. Naomi, let me see her. Let me see her. Naomi, where are you? Why can't I see her? Belated happy birthday, baby. I'm sorry I didn't call you.
Hi.
It's okay.
We love you.
Hi, Naomi.
Love you too. Can you look a car?
But I have a gift for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, here, Lonnie.
No, she does have a gift for you.
I was gonna see Naomi, but Naomi remember me.
Of course she does. That's your god sister. How could she not remember you?
I go to her house earlier.
Yes. Y'all, I forgot. It was my goddaughter's birthday yesterday, and I forgot to call. But Lonnie said she didn't answer the phone anyway, so I don't feel as bad. But I forgot to call her. Yeah, she's a Valentine's Day baby. But all right, y'all. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Happy Sunday.